All right, so in this video, I'm going to go over submitting the final version of the image project. So we're going to take a look at the Brightspace submission page first, and then we'll create our Open Lab page and submit. So I'll make myself small. When you're ready, when you finish your image, you want to make sure to do a little bit of everything that we've done in the demos. The pattern one, if the pattern doesn't really fit, you can skip that one, but you definitely need to do a composite. So you need to do the compositing with the mask of the two images. Everything else, you can kind of play with, do what you think makes sense for your project. Let's go over the requirements first. So we're going to go over to Brightspace. I'm going to go down to assignments, and let's take a look down here. So it's all the way down here after our blog post, project 1 image. So the rubric for this shows you everything that you need to do. So the final image composition, is well designed. There's a clear theme, and the composition choices work well together. So this is a little bit more of the sort of subjective side of, does your image look good? Does it have an obvious, sort of idea behind it? And does it look like it's, everything fits together? Then 10 points for your Photoshop file. So your Photoshop file should use layers and filters and masks correctly. The file should be well organized and easy to understand. So if you got a bazillion layers and no groups and I don't know where anything is, I'm going to take some points off there. Documentation, so you should include an image in the post. We're not doing video yet, so you just need to worry about an image, and it should be the correct format, size. So basically just a JPEG or a PNG. And then writing is clear and uses correct grammar, and then a link to the published post submitted on Brightspace. So that's the rubric. There are some additional instructions on the schedule page or on the image page. So let's take a look at that. So on the image page, there's a little bit more about the project. So we need to have a project statement that is part of your post. So there should be a title for the project. This should be like an original title. The semester and year that you created it, this is just going to be spring 2025. The software and or languages that you use, so this will be Photoshop. And then a 3 or 4 sentence description of what you created. And then credits for all of the images that you didn't create yourself. And we'll go over the format for those credits. All right, so I forgot to add a link to the citation example, so I put it in there. Okay, so then on Brightspace, you're going to submit the PSD to the final project, and if you have like multiple PSDs that you need to include, just add those, and a link to the Open Lab post. So let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to open up this citation example over here so you can see an example. This is kind of the default, and then this is an example of an actual citation. Although it's not really, I think this is a real one. Anyway, whatever. Let's go back here. I'm gonna make a post, but I also want to get the links from my other project that I created. So I'm going to go to my other post and grab those links real quick. So I'm going to scroll down and find my username. And I'll just click on these links and open them in separate tabs. So I'm just holding control and clicking on them. So now I've got all the links that I used to different images that I used in my project. And I need to cite all of these. So that'll be good. We'll have a bunch of examples to use. So I'm going to create a new post. And for the category, I'm just going to call this image. It's not a weekly blog post. It's just our final image post. And we can say my final image, or you can use the title of the image if you want. So we have to export the image. Actually, I didn't do that yet. So let's go back to Photoshop. Let's get rid of this. All right, so back in Photoshop, let's save this and let's export it. So I'm going to go to File, Export, and Export As. And and JPEG is fine. Let's see if it's a PNG. It's gonna be a lot higher file size. So let's stick with JPEG. So I'll do JPEG and click export. And I'll just call this final image.jpg. Click save. So now we'll drag this on here. So you can upload it or you can just drag and drop. I'm gonna drag and drop this time. So we'll take this final image and drag it on here. And so now we need to look at our, actually let's go back to, so let's take a look at what we need to add on. So we need to start with a project title. So I'll just name this Chilling with My Homie. So that'll be the name of my image. You can call it whatever you want. I'll just call it that. And I made this in spring 2025. And I'll say made with Photoshop. And so now we need like a short description, 3 to 4 sentences about what your image is about. So you could say something like, I added a lizard into an image of a pigeon looking over New York City. I forget what I said last time, but I'll just rewrite it. So I wanted to give the pigeon a friend to hang out with. That's why the pigeon is thinking chilling with my homie. And you could say I used a gradient adjustment and what else? I used a posterize filter to create a non-photorealistic look. So you can talk about the concept behind the project, the theme, your ideas. I guess posterize is not a word, I guess, but that's a Photoshop term, so we're gonna leave that. So yeah, just talk a little bit about the theme, the idea you had, and then how you created it. Like if you use special filters, if you did something specific, that's interesting. So then we need to cite the images that we used. So we can say I use the following images, and then we're just gonna follow the citation format. So I'll go back to this page and go back to our citation example. And we've got to do this for each one. So for each one, we need the title of the work, the author, which could be their real name or their username on a website, whatever license was used, the name of the website, and then the date it was updated or uploaded, and the URL. So there's a lot of information that goes in there, but all that information is necessary for us to understand, different stuff about the image. Because it's the internet, things change. So somebody might upload a new copy of the image, or they may make some adjustments. So we have to say not only where we got it, but when we got it. So let's start with our lizard image. So there's going to be information here. If you use an image from a different source, you may need to look around to find where the information is. If you have trouble with that, let me know. We can go over it in office hours, but usually you'll be able to find it somewhere. So let's see. So there's a description, there's a date, there's an author, it gives us a license here. What's the name of this image? I guess it's just lizard-e. Doesn't really seem to have a name. That's okay. Let's just call it lizard. So we'll just use that. So I'll say lizard in quotation marks and then I'll just use the username here, author. So I'll just copy that and paste. It pasted with a link. You could leave that or not. We have the lizard by Sajad F. And so then next, we add the CC license. So this license is linked here. So this is another thing. You could copy this link, and it'll it'll add that link as well, which is kind of nice because then you can go straight to the link and actually see what it is. But you don't have to have that. If you just have the text, that's fine too. People can look it up. Then the title of the website is Wikimedia or Wikimedia Commons. And the date, let's see, the date accessed or uploaded. The date is right here. We'll just copy that. You don't need the timestamp. That's fine. So the date is December 27th, 2010. And then finally the URL. So we just take the URL and paste it on there. So that's basically the process. We just need to add all that information so that we do the citation properly. So let's do the next two. So we've got feral pigeon. I'm just going to use the beginning of this name here. So we've got feral pigeon by, this one is by 01. And I can include that link. And the website is also Wikimedia Commons, so I'll just copy that and paste it here. And oh, I forgot the license. So the license is attribution share alike license. So I'll just copy that. Wikimedia Commons. And then the date is 31 August 2008. And then finally the URL, just grab that URL and copy and paste. All right, one more to go. Yellow flowers. So I'm going to copy that. Just Control C, Control V. A lot of Control C, Control V today, or Command C, Command V. This one is by, oh, it even has a name of all the flowers. That's cool. This one is by Alvis Gaspar. And the Creative Commons is 3.0. Copy that, paste it in. And this is also Wikimedia Commons. So I'll just copy that here, paste it down here. And what else? We have to do the dates. And finally, the link. So this is all the information that needs to be included in your citations before you submit your final project. Okay, so let's publish this, and then we'll submit the whole thing on Brightspace, and that'll be it. So we're going to publish this. We're going to take a look, make sure it looks okay. Okay, looks pretty good. So we're going to save, we're going to copy this URL, and then we're going to post it on Brightspace. And remember to include any files that were used to make up the project. So, you know, if you have the PSD, that's the main file you need. But we want to see all the files that went into making this project. So we're going to do this a little bit differently than the previous ones. So I'm going to put the URL in there, and now I'm going to add a file. But the way I'm going to do this, if we go back to the file browser, we could upload all of this stuff in here. But what I want to do, sometimes when you want to add a few different things, so I want to include everything that was used in this image. So that includes this PSD, this pigeon image, this lizard image, this pattern, and this flower image. So notice I'm clicking on all of them, and then I'm holding Control, or you can do Command, and now they're all selected. So this is an important thing to be able to do to work in media. You need to be able to, you know, manipulate files and use them correctly. So I've got all the files that I actually used in the project. These files are from a separate project, and these two files here are just exported copies. If you end up with more files, that's better than not the right files. So if you're not sure, just add all of them in there. But if I right click after I've selected all of these guys and I go to compress to zip, You can do this on the Mac as well. I think it's archive on the Mac rather than compress. If I make a zip file of all this stuff, now I've got this one file that has everything inside it, and I can submit that on Brightspace, and I won't have to worry about missing some of the files. And it's only 12 megabytes, so it's really not that big. So that's how you should submit your final projects. Just make sure that you've got everything in there. And again, if you're not sure, just include everything. Just throw the whole thing in there. So now I can add a file. You can go to my computer, and now I can upload just this zip project. I don't have to upload each file on its own. I'm going to find that zip project. I'm going to open it up, and then I'm going to click add. So this is a really important method to be able to do when you're working in multimedia. Sometimes when we make projects, sometimes when we add an image into Photoshop, it copies all the data and you can just send the PSD. But sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes it's just a link. And when you're editing audio, that can be the same thing. If you're editing video, that's usually the case. So we want to get good at packaging our projects together, including all the files that we need to be able to send it to somebody else and they can use everything in it, and make sure that we've got everything accounted for. All right, so that's everything I need to do. I'm going to click submit on here, and I've finished my image project. So let me know if you need help or have questions with any part of that process. I'm happy to go over it together. But that's the basic process, and we'll kind of review that and repeat that with our other projects as well. So that kind of brings us to the end of our image section. Next week, we'll be talking about audio, and we'll be editing audio and sourcing audio and doing a lot of the same kind of stuff that we've been doing with our images, but working with a different type of file. All right, see you in the next video.